Hey everyone, welcome to the Week in Nintendo Land, episode 3, the place where we round out all the Nintendo news and pour over every minute detail, all for your entertainment. I'm Alex Boltwood, and joining me as always are Anna Karasik.
Hello.
And Nathan Ellingsworth.
Hello.
And our guest this week is the reason why Switch Player and Ninty Fresh magazine look so slick. It's our art director, Jhonatan Carneiro. Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Hola, and thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here finally, and sorry for my bad English and stuff, but it's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you here. So this week we're going to be talking about the new Hyrule Warriors sequel, Age of Calamity, all the Switch games shown at the Ubisoft Forward presentation, and the No More Heroes 3 delay. But if you somehow missed all of that, don't worry, because we've got a quick recap to get you up to speed.
A new Zelda game is on the way, but not the one you think. Instead, a sequel to the Wii U's Hyrule Warriors, titled Age of Calamity, is set to be released on the 20th of November, and serves as a prequel to the Breath of the Wild, chronicling Zelda and Link's last stand against Ganon. During their presentation, Ubisoft shared glimpses of their upcoming slate of Switch games, including a revamped Gods and Monsters, now titled Immortals Fenyx Rising, and the re-release of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And it looks like 2020 will be completely devoid of beam katana-wielding heroes, as developer Grasshopper Manufacture has confirmed No More Heroes 3 has been pushed back to 2021 due to COVID-19.
Last Monday, Nintendo dropped a surprise announcement about a new Zelda game. Unfortunately, it wasn't another trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, which I'm sure some of us were looking forward to, but it was instead a new Hyrule Warriors sequel called Age of Calamity that's a prequel of sorts to Breath of the Wild, set 100 years before the events of that game, and lets you play as Link, Zelda, and the champions in huge battles against Ganon's armies. So, Anna, how excited are you about this game?
Like 12 out of 10, maybe like 14. I don't know. It's depends on like the time of day if I've had coffee, but I'm really excited because I actually played the original on Wii U. I've never played all of the Dynasty Warrior games, but I really enjoyed the Wii U version. And this one is more exciting because like you said, it's a sequel, but it's not a sequel. It's sort of a prequel, and it's the prequel everybody was asking for. And we didn't necessarily need a whole nother Breath of the Wild scale game to tell this story. So it seems like really fitting in a way to bring people that maybe considered this a write-off, spin-off kind of thing into the fold.
And Nathan, are you like a big Hyrule Warriors fan, Dynasty Warriors fan, or are you kind of new to the franchise?
So I played Hyrule Warriors and I had a really good time with it, and I'd played quite a few of the Dynasty Warriors games before. So I had a real blast with Hyrule Warriors because it was this mashing of two things I loved. And I think some of the disappointment came from people who maybe didn't quite know what Dynasty Warriors was and was expecting not more, because there's a lot there, but something a little bit more involved, whereas it is kind of like a big dumb action game, and that's what it's always done, and that's what it's good at. And I think the Hyrule Warriors, I loved it, but it did feel a little bit throwaway because it wasn't connected really. It was all fanfic, you know, in a way. But this kind of idea of let's give them the power to tell an actual story, and one that, as you said, Anna, isn't really needed to have a full game for. This is just one big war. This is just one big war that happened in one space. So like a Muso game for this is literally perfect. This is an incredible way to tell that story, and so smart of Nintendo to be like, oh my God, these things are going to work, and give that artistic license to another team that are happy to do it.
No, exactly. By the way, your disguise is shattered. Your Mario disguise is shattered in the pack.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I turned it off. Don't worry, it's fine.
We've peeked behind the curtain. We know exactly what it is now.
We know
Yeah.
your secret.
But I kind of completely agree. Like, I've never played a Dynasty Warriors game before. Never played Hyrule Warriors. So I was a bit like, oh, what is this game? But as soon as it was kind of like, I saw that it was like a prequel to Breath of the Wild, I kind of sat up. I was really interested, and I felt like I wanted more of that in the Breath of the Wild. I wanted to see more of what happened before the events of that game. So I'm really excited to kind of play it. And Jonathan, you kind of looked at the trailer and you kind of spotted a few things that people might have missed in it.
Yeah, like Nathan said, Hyrule Warriors wasn't like the most canon based or like most interesting thing when it comes to narrative, because it's like kind of put everything that there is Zelda on a single pot, like take things from Skyward Sword, Wind Waker, and all those different games and put it together in a kind of, well, it's portals. The games are connected. That's it. That's the story.
Right.
But if the narrative was kind of all over the place, it did a great job into putting into the Musou genre like elements from the Zelda games, because like Musous aren't the most beloved genre, I'd say. Like there's a lot of hate towards the Warrior series, but in Hyrule Warriors, in addition to the classic combat, like 1 versus 1,000 mob that didn't do really much when you were actually fighting them and so on, but they had all these Zelda mechanics, like you had bombs and bow and arrows and the boomerang and the hook shot and so on, and all these elements, they were put there in such a way that they felt like, okay, this is a Musou, but this is also Zelda, because all of these things that are so Zelda, not only the characters like Link and Zelda and Ganondorf and so on, but there are Zelda mechanics here too. So when it comes to Age of Calamity, what I really am hyped about, and I want to see how they will take these, is how will they like take elements from Breath of the Wild and change and mix them with the Musou formula. And on the trailer itself, there were certain hints that we are going to see this kind of stuff, like each character that they showed on the trailer, like we could see the champions being playable, like Mipha and Daruk, and so they were there. But like Zelda was also playable, and Zelda, like she had the Sheikah Slate powers. She used the stasis, she used bombs, she used the magnesis to attack enemies with things, and so. But I'm wondering if these same elements, or like a kind of adaptation of that, will be used across the map too, because there is a moment on the trailer. On that moment, Link takes a bomb and he throws it at the fort, the Bokoblin fort, and it explodes. So I'm very curious to see if that is going to be a recurrent mechanic like you're going to use on different segments on the map.
That would make sense, because a big part of the Dynasty Warriors is going across the map and you're taking over these little outposts. So maybe the Bokoblin forts represent some of the weaker outposts that you can just grab with a side character, because you can also send characters in a certain way. So those are probably, like, I imagine, weaker ones, because those are like the little areas you can just loot in Breath of the Wild. So that's an interesting, like you said, Jonathan, marriage of the mechanics.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Looking forward to see more about that, hopefully on the 26th of this month. But Moving on to other details, we talked about like the trailer showed us a little bit of a hint of at least one character, which is Impa. There is a moment where we can see that Link, Zelda, and a third character, they are on the Hyrule Castle. They are kind of talking with the king, and Link and these other character, they are knelt before the king, and so like a postal thing, and so. And that third characters that we do not know anything about, she in fact has the same hat as Impa from Breath of the Wild. As we can remember, Impa, she like is 120 years old on the Breath of the Wild narrative. She remembers what happened during the Calamity War, and she works as a kind of guide, at least to some extent, to the first steps that Link needs to do to like fight with the divine beasts and recover his memories and so on. So I'm pretty sure that Impa will be playable, and I'm looking forward to see her move kit and so on.
Oh yeah. The more you talk about it, the more it just seems like, duh, like I can't believe I didn't think of this before or notice it in the trailer. That seems so, now that you say, well, it was 100 years ago and she's over 100 years old. Come on, we should have thought of this. You're just pulling open the curtain.
I can see like Impa being, especially towards the end, you can imagine her as the final character, because everyone, it's going to be like Rogue One. You're going to see, spoiler, everyone slowly dying, like, and that kind of like that romanticized like war story. And Impa could be like, quick, get the, you need to go, you need to survive to let Link know in the future. So like the Death Star plans, like Impa could be the final moment of hope, that little bit of glory before a heavy ending. Like
let's just hope that the main characters in this game actually make meaningful decisions to make the movie good.
Let's
not go there. Let's not go there. We haven't got time.
So one of the kind of the criticisms kind of leveled at Breath of the Wild was that the kind of enemy types, there wasn't much progression. You were kind of fighting the same enemies from the start to the end. Are we kind of hoping for different enemies, more advanced enemies in Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity?
Maybe this is similar. I know this is not enemies, but first of all, we're going to get guardians. So that's interesting. We're probably just going to get a lot of them though. So they'll probably become the new normal. But something I noticed also in the trailer was the divine beasts, not just the champions, but the beasts. And I'm thinking, maybe, these aren't necessarily enemies, but similar to your question, Alex, it seems like maybe we're going to have some mechanic, like some god power that you get partway through a level, like where you can just shoot everybody on below and feel super powerful. I don't know. It sounds cool.
It's a mech. It's a giant mech.
Yeah. You'll feel like Voltron. Maybe they can Voltron.
You see in Breath of the Wild, all of the champions using the divine beasts in those moments of the battle. So it's so clever for them to use this genre of game to let you
little correction.
Actually play
the
in those
divine
moments.
Beasts are actually Megazords. It's Power Rangers all over again. They will summon them to fight the big monsters. But now,
silly me.
The thing with the divine beasts is that there's a very difference between the timeline where the Age of Calamity will take place on, because on the memories that we see on the Breath of the Wild, we see like lots and like, sorry if it will get a little bit spoilerific, because you can like finish Breath of the Wild without even getting one memory, and that's fine. But if you go and search for them and you watch all of them, you will see that Zelda and Link, they go on a kind of pilgrimage throughout the entirety of Hyrule. They go and kind of recruit each one of the champions. And when they do that, and we see more of that specifically on the Champions Ballad DLC, they have a kind of gathering of all the guardians. The champions. They gather, the four of them, and there is a kind of royal celebration of that. And each one of the champions, they get a kind of blue tunic that's quite similar to Zelda's and Link's. But on the trailer of Age of Calamity, none of them are using that blue tunic. So at least on the segments they showed, we'll probably see the chains and Zelda and Link on moments that are even before the memories that we have seen in Breath of the Wild. Because they like, maybe we'll see they taking this kind of royal garments and so on again in Age of Calamity, but it will take place before. And if you remember from the memories, there is a moment when like the divine beasts are controlled by the champions, no problem. And then Calamity Ganon takes the divine beasts and like turns all around and he wins. Spoiler.
Yeah, so they could become enemies.
In the trailer, we see Varudania, which is the Daruk's divine beasts, but she, or he or it, I don't know, it has that blue light, which means that it isn't corrupted yet. But if you take that gorgeous artwork, like the cover artwork that shows the champions and a huge army behind them, we see that Vanaboris, which is Urbosa's divine beasts, Vanaboris is there with the army of Ganon and so on. So we'll have maybe two moments, one when we are using the divine beasts and then we lose them and we have to fight them, probably, maybe, I don't know, it's possible. And it will be fun to see.
Makes sense. I never thought of these as big boss games because it's a lot of like tiny enemies that you hack and slash through. So I'm interested to see how this game might deal with large enemies like Ganon or the divine beasts. I can see how it would handle guardians and bokoblins and all that stuff, and even the Ganon sympathizers, the what are they called? The little clan that follows him.
Yiga.
The Yiga clan. I can imagine maybe some of them, unless they started after the Calamity, but I can imagine some Ganon sympathizers maybe being enemies. But I can't even picture fighting a divine beast in this genre because it's all boxed into these little rooms, and these seem like big battles.
There was a few boss battles in Hyrule Warriors with larger enemies. There was a lot of like old school Zelda enemies used, and they were alongside smaller enemies around. So it was still kind of this like swathes of enemies.
Did work.
But there's one part in the trailer for Age of Calamity where we see, I think it's Zelda specifically battling a Lionel as a boss, and it's just the Lionel in the open space with Zelda. So I think they're probably going to lean towards the Zelda combat style. I think we're going to be looking at more mechanics, like John was saying, with the runes and the stasis and stuff, as kind of a problem-solving boss more than anything. Because, as action games, these are you are just mowing through things, and that doesn't work if you have a single boss. So I think they're gonna twist it, and I think, because they've got the actual story now, they've got the actual writers coming in and so much license and help from Nintendo themselves, I think they're going to want to make this more Zelda than Warriors game, maybe.
it definitely piqued my interest. Like, yeah, like I say, I've never played a game before, but I was like, I'm definitely going to kind of pick this up. And what's kind of cool is like you think you kind of see it, you automatically you see a trailer
Yeah.
for a game, you're like, it's not going to
We
come out
don't
for
need to
ages.
wait
But
that
it's out
much.
20th of November, so it's like not
Yes.
long at all. So I'm kind of loving this. Exactly. I know it's kind of down to COVID, and that's like, you know, a tragedy in itself. But I'm kind of loving this thing where they kind of announce a game, and it's like a few weeks later
that's
you get to play that
amazing.
game, like with the Mario 3D collection.
Yeah, it's gonna be a wild end of the year, and we get Pikmin soon too in October.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lovely little holiday season for gamers.
So
And I
was just going to say, if we're going by the like 2-3 months rule, that means we'll probably get Breath of the Wild 2 announced maybe January, December.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Because that's coming out in March, I think. Still,
Yeah,
I'm holding on to that.
So IG Numa kind of said fans are going to have to wait a little bit longer to kind of hear about Breath of the Wild 2. So do we think next year's going to be early next year's going to be when it's going to be released?
That's what I thought originally and what I thought for a long time. But obviously this year has shifted things. And if we look back to when the original Breath of the Wild was pushed back, do we remember that we had a very public apology from Numa, and he was like, it's going to take a little bit longer, things have changed. But here is Wind Waker HD. And what we have seen recently is Skyward Sword HD come up on lots of listings. So I really want Breath of the Wild 2 to be in March with a Switch Pro, like to mirror the original Switch launch with Breath of the Wild. If that isn't going to happen, which could very well be likely because of issues with production schedules and all sorts, and even if the game's ready, maybe they do just want to do it with a Switch Pro, and again, the production of that physically could have been pushed back. I think we could maybe see Skyward Sword HD being next March now, and then Breath of the Wild 2 a bit later in the year, because that'd be a great way to start Zelda's 35th. Maybe we get a couple of, we get a Zelda All-Stars pack with HD, Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess, and then like an up-resed Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, like 64, you know, something like that to tide us over. Oh God.
Please.
Now that would be worth 60 quid.
Yes, that would be a great way to kick off the year, definitely. So I guess while we wait for Breath of the Wild 2, one game that might kind of tide us over that we saw last week as well was Immortals Phoenix Rising, the kind of new game, the revamped version of Gods and Monsters that was shown at the latest Ubisoft Forward presentation. What did you kind of make of that game? Is it kind of the Zelda clone that many have written it off as, or is there kind of something more to it, you think?
Well, I'd say that we are bound to see like lots of Breath of the Wild clones, because there isn't only Immortals coming. There's that Chinese game, which is Genshin Impact. It's coming to the PlayStation 4 this month, and it is bound to come to the Switch too. So like lots of inspirations are taking, the developers are taking lots of inspiration from Breath of the Wild, and we are finally seeing their results. Like, well, with Immortals Phoenix Rise, which by the way, is such a worse title than Gods and Monsters.
Oh,
I don't know why they
my
changed
God.
it.
Oh, it looks like a bad mobile title game now,
Yes,
like
totally.
a Crash of Clans clone or something like that. It's so weird, so weird. I don't understand the thought behind that change at all.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, the Phoenix, the wrong spelling, like Phoenix. It kind of seems like, yeah, like an early 2000s kind of movie, you know, really cool and edgy. They think they're being edgy by changing their kind of title. But yeah, no, it doesn't. Yeah, I hate that title. They should have just kept Gods and Monsters.
Yeah.
So so because I kind of read, I sort of like watched the trailer and kind of read that it's not quite like it's taken a lot of inspiration from Zelda, but also the humor is leaning more towards kind of Banjo-Kazooie, which I think is kind of an interesting mix of games. So are we going to be picking that up when it kind of comes out, or are you going to be happy with Hyrule Warriors? You're going to be happy to wait for Zelda?
Yeah, I think I'm indifferent. I'll wait for reviews, and if it's exceptional, maybe I'll get it on sale.
Yeah, I'm super happy that a game that looks this ambitious is coming to Switch, and I was really impressed when Starlink came over to Switch, the way they scaled that game and then added a lot of cool stuff to the Switch version. I hate to say I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm still going to wait for reviews. But if it's anything as impressive as Starlink ended up being for me personally, this could end up being like a nice little gem, a really, really lovely game that I tied over. And yeah, it does look like it's got a bit of the humor of like Kid Icarus Uprising, and the action looks a little bit more hack and slash as well. So there are some elements that are very clearly moving away from Zelda. It looks to be a bit quicker in terms of the combat, and it looks to be a little bit more tongue in cheek. So if it offers something different enough whilst building on a really solid framework, that's what games are about. You know, games are nothing but iteration, and every 3 or 4 years we see this because Zelda came out 3 years ago, and only now we're seeing all the other big studios that 3 years ago went, make a game like that, and those games are coming out now. But that's how it works, you know. I'm excited that we're finally seeing the fruits of that labor, because Zelda changed everything. It changed everything in that freedom, in that the sheer openness and possibilities. Like, it's good for the industry that we have other companies copying this.
Yeah, on the same boat, basically, because I'm curious about it, but I'm kind of reluctant because of the Ubisoft format of open world games. Like, Starlink is an excellent example because from a gameplay standpoint, it is superb. It's like, it's a Star Fox game we always wanted. It's good to fly, to shoot things, to like engage on those big fights on space, on and so on. But when it comes to the structure, there is like a huge amount of copy-pasted content. Like, it feels at least that there are like three, 4, 5 types of missions that are going to be repeated in every time, like fight monsters and get a puzzle and engage with this kind of activity, and you repeat and you repeat and repeat that all over the game. Like 3 hours and you already have seen everything that's new about Starlink. And with Immortals, like, I hope that they took more of Breath of the Wild on the sense, like, the world is out there for you to explore, and like, you will find what to do if you want to engage with shrines or Korok seeds, or if you want to there are no questions on the normal sense, like, we'll pinpoint the map for you, you go there, you do a quest, you complete that. No, it's like all open-minded, and you do your own path. And with Immortals, at least from what they have shown so far, there are lots of open world shenanigans so far. Like, you open the map, you see like lots of dots that you need to go, you need to do, you need to take. And well, there are amazing games that work like that and do that. But for a game that takes inspiration from Breath of the Wild, I would expect it to be more like, leave me be on this world and play and find my stuff and so on.
Yeah, I agree. It looks like it's got a very Ubisoft open world with, here are your towers, here are your objectives, here's all the things you need to do. Whereas Zelda did a really good job of suggesting all of that. It didn't have to like be like, no, here's everything you need to do, there it all is. It, you know, they worked for years with environmental artists to make sure that you could just see the peak of something behind the objective of where you were. You know, they worked hard to make sure that in your eye line was, oh, I could maybe go over there and see what that does and do that. And I think Ubisoft probably don't have the capacity for that sort of subtlety. And they also probably don't have, like with Starlink, you're right, it's a mechanically great game, but it is missing a lot of the heart, is that makes Nintendo titles. And that's why we stay with Nintendo titles. You know, anyone can copy a mechanic once it's been made, but to make a game that fills itself with joy and love and humor is not something everyone can do.
That's so true. I always found myself playing Breath of the Wild. You always think, oh, I'll just do one kind of like mission, go to one kind of like shrine, and then I'll be done. But I always got like waylaid and went somewhere else, and then I had to kind of
Yeah.
circle back. It's like it's such a huge, expansive game. There's so
A
much.
lot of it's you're not getting tied down to like, I know there are formal quests in Breath of the Wild, but you're not getting tied down to these objectives and quest markers and stuff. You're just, like you said, you see the suggestions and you're like, let me go there. Oh my God, there's a giant horse, that kind of thing. It's not like these pinpoints on a map.
Yeah, I was literally playing Breath of the Wild today. I've just started streaming it. I played it for like 3 or 4 hours today because I was like, I'll play it for a little bit. But then I just got carried away with making my own story and seeing things like a magpie that I was excited by. And like since I turned it off, I've had other things to do. I can't stop thinking about Breath of the Wild again. I've played that game like 3 or 4 times. It's just does it so well that, I don't know. Even if someone does copy their homework, it will probably never live up to it.
So it might be, instead of buying Phoenix Rising, it might just be a replay of Breath of the Wild for everyone, I think. Yeah.
It might be, but also it would be nice to see how someone else approaches that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wait for the reviews, I guess.
Yeah.
And the other kind of games that were shown, there was also like, after, huge demand across social media due to it not being available anywhere, Scott Pilgrim versus the World is getting a re-release with a complete edition in time for Christmas. So did anyone kind of play that when it first came out? I don't know if it was like in conjunction with the movie or just a little bit afterwards. I can't remember.
I never played it, but you did, John, didn't you?
Yeah, I've played that at the time on PlayStation 3 at the time, I think. And like, for what it is, it does a good job of being a pretty decent beat-em up style game. Like, it take inspirations and reference from the classics of the genre and does a good job. Like, and you go and beat people all around, and it is a good title, especially if you want to play it like with friends. Like I'm going to call in my friends when you can, like because of Corona, like that. But when you can, your friends will come to your house and you sit and you will beat people on the game, and it's fun for that. But I have the impression that the fact that Scott Pilgrim was delisted, you couldn't play it anymore unless you have bought it. You can't buy it anymore, nor in on PS3, nor in another modern platform. It kind of gave the game a kind of holy aura that I don't think it really deserves, because it is a fine game. Like, I'm not telling it is bad, but it simply does the job. Like, similar to Streets of Rage 4 that was released this year. It is good. It's a nice beaten up, but it doesn't do anything like in a groundbreaking way, in a genre redefining way. Like, it's a standard beaten up that is good for what it is, but it's not like, oh my God, it's out now, you need to buy it, doesn't matter what. Like, if you like beaten ups, then go for it. If you don't like, you aren't really losing that much, in my humble opinion, of course.
Seems like a good pick for someone who's a huge fan of Scott Pilgrim. And there's a lot of those, but maybe not necessarily someone who's a huge fan of beat 'em ups, unless they're also a fan of Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, I did wonder, because it was the anniversary of the film, suddenly everyone started thinking about the game, and there's kind of a vocal minority that really want it. And, obviously Ubisoft have kind of like taken note of that. They see dollar signs in their eyes. They're not going to turn that like free money down. So they're going to re-release it. But I do wonder if anyone is actually going to buy it when it kind of comes out at Christmas. If the hype of everything has died down and everyone's kind of forgotten about it by then, there's better games out. I wonder if anyone's going to care at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm a big fan of the film, and I've read the comics, and I never got around to it back in the day, and obviously I haven't been able to buy it for years. But I do completely agree with John. I think it's probably going to have this thing where once it gets reviewed, everyone's going to kind of look at it through the lens of, now we've got kind of way more beat 'em ups than we did 10 years ago. Like with Streets of Rage and lots of other similar games like River City Girls and Battletoads, and that genre now has come back in a big way and people are doing it really well. So I think through that lens of, especially on the Switch, are we going to look at it and be like, yes, this is one of the leaders in the genre? Are we going to look back and be like, it was good for the time? And yeah, it'll be certainly interesting to see how it reviews, because I think a lot of the people that demanded it back, and it's fantastic that a game that was delisted has come back for preservation purpose, especially a digital game where it was very, very difficult in any way to play it. It's important that we do manage to keep these games. But yeah, the actual amount of people who are going to play it and be like, this is as good as I remember, it's probably not going to be huge.
Yeah.
And then also the kind of the last one was that we saw at the Ubisoft Forward presentation was the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remaster. So there's no mention of it actually coming to Switch in the presentation, but bizarrely a Switch version is available to pre-order on the Ubisoft official website. And also Ubisoft France tweeted out that it is available for Switch, but then that was quickly deleted. So it's going to be coming soon. I guess not the games for kind of like PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 is going to come in January, but I guess it's going to be further down the line for the Switch. Yeah. What any interest in replaying it? Because it's being developed by Ubisoft Pune, which is in India. It's the first game they've led development on. For me, it looks quite ropey. I saw someone on Twitter put up like a screenshot, and they'd used the same kind of character model 3 times in the background. So obviously they're cutting corners quite a lot. Is anyone interested in replaying that game, especially with this kind of apparent quality?
Like, I want to be, man. Those games were good, and everyone would have been excited about a remaster. But yeah, you're right. Looking at these screenshots and the way they've seemed to have done it, I think this isn't a remaster. There's no way it is. I think a port would have been fine. I think look at Super Mario 64. Like, just put it in widescreen, up the textures a bit, do whatever you need to. Like, I wonder, because they've got quite a large team as well. There's quite a lot of people working on this. What have they been doing? Like, to be blunt, I'm really sorry. Like, it doesn't look impressive. And you're right as well about the Switch version. That'll be next year. And it's another one of these conniving ways where Ubisoft and Activision know that people have a PS4 and a Switch. And like, I've just bought Tony Hawk's on my PS4. And when it comes out on Switch, I'll probably buy it again. Whereas if it had all come out day and date, I would have just bought the Switch version. And people keep doing this, and they keep getting away with it, and I don't like it. The Switch version is probably ready. It's probably ready the same day, because it's generally not in-house that do the Switch version. It's generally I don't know. Maybe it does take a bit longer, but I don't like this whole like, well, won't there be a Switch version? There is going to be one 6 months down the line. Just tell us on day one. Like, let consumers make an informed decision. Don't do this shady, well, maybe you'll have to wait and see, where people then have to buy a game in the meantime. I don't like it. It doesn't give you any respect.
Certainly not consumer friendly.
Yeah, I was like, I'm definitely going to buy Tony Hawk's, but I would love it on Switch. So I'm kind of like, and I heard the rumors. So I'm like, I'm going to wait, and yeah.
If anything, it hurts their sales.
Yeah, it's true. So one game that we're definitely not going to be playing anytime soon is No More Heroes 3, as Suda51 confirmed the game is being delayed until 2021. He released a statement along with Grasshopper manufacturers saying that all staff members at Grasshopper have been working as hard as possible on developing the game in the hopes of releasing it in 2020, but the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic have unfortunately proven to be a real body blow to our schedule, causing unforeseen delays in development. We will continue to put every effort into the title's development as we shoot for a 2021 release date. So for this game, I think the writing was on the wall. We hadn't really seen or heard much from the game. We'd seen, like, they released maybe a trailer. There was brief snippets of the gameplay behind Suda51 during a presentation once. So are we disappointed that we're not going to be playing No More Heroes 3 in time for Christmas?
Yeah, man, it's a bummer. I don't know about everyone else, but I've been excited about this game. I loved the No More Heroes games. I think Suda especially is a very funny and creative game maker, and seeing what he could do with that branding nowadays is super interesting, because No More Heroes originally is kind of a Quentin Tarantino-esque kind of like satire game. You know, it takes the mick out of everything from Star Wars to Power Rangers to all of these sorts of things. And I wanted to see what he does with that and what he skewers nowadays, because it's a very different landscape to what it was 10 years ago. Like Star Wars jokes would be very different nowadays. Like, and it's also just so wacky and really kind of believes its own nonsense. And I don't think we have many inherently like silly games like that anymore. And and it's also a great action game. I feel like I'm focusing too much on the wrong things. Mechanically, those games are awesome, man. They're really fun to play. They're really quick. They're really smooth. Like the Wii one, well, both of them, sorry. Like I remember they came at a time where I was 18 and all my mates were playing Xbox and we had Gears of War and we're like, come play Gears of War with me. And I was like, I've got Super Mario Galaxy to play, guys. And then this game came out and it felt like my dirty little secret. I was like, no, I mean, they've cut the blood out, but it's still an action game. Like, and it was this game that I could show off and it was fun. And me and my friends played it. And not that that's a selling point nowadays, but it does still have this kind of pedigree of like a naughty Nintendo game that I love and I hold on to dearly. But yeah, you're right. It very clearly isn't meant to be coming out this year. It sucks it's not a holiday release, especially as we still have a gap for December, because Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is what, November 20th or 30th, isn't it?
Yeah, November 20th.
We don't have a big December game. And I think this would have been a really good, funny, Christmassy like holiday game. So yeah, I just hope they keep doing what they're doing. I hope the game turns out better than Travis Strikes Again as well. But that was a side game and that was something completely different. I don't think Suda can make a bad action game, and I'm excited to see what happens.
And that's the thing, as long as they, the pandemic's obviously shifted everyone's development timelines, as long as they kind of take their time to make a great game, you don't want it rushed out where it's going to kind of be semi-done, need to be patched, day one. So at least they've recognized the problems and they're going to make it the best game they possibly can.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And I think that the delay is sad, of course. We will have to wait a little bit more, but we would have a worse reception of such a delay if it came before we knew about like Age of Calamity and the Super Mario 3D All-Star Collection. Because before that, we knew about Pikmin 3, but we had no other idea of which games Nintendo is releasing this year again. I don't know. Like there was no more Hero 3, but without a set date. There is Bravely Default 2, but it's another game that we don't know anything else about. I don't know if it is even coming in 2020 still.
I don't think so anymore.
Maybe it's going to delay too. But now that we have these titles coming, like the Mario Collection, Pikmin, Age of Calamity, we are in a much better position to it's sad, but it's okay. I can wait a little bit more for No More Heroes 3.
Yeah, I agree.
So Nathan, you kind of touched upon it there, but we're still waiting for that December game. What's everyone's hopes for that December game that they're going to suddenly announce and it'll be out in 2 weeks' time?
Ooh, do you want hopes or do you want what I think it is?
Hopes and maybe what you think it is, and then also hopes as well. Any wild cards that suddenly they're going to pull out, like a new Star Fox game or something they've been working on secretly.
All right, hopes, I guess. Ooh, I would like a Star Fox game, but I would also like whatever Retro Studios has been working on before they started Metroid Prime 4, whether it was some sort of IP, or I'd like to see Metroid Prime Trilogy or the 2D Metroid that was kind of floated around. What I think it is a game that we haven't had this year that we get every year. Is a Mario sports game. We get one literally every single year, pretty much, and we're due one. I mean, how long has it been since we had Mario Strikers or something? Like these games, especially as a holiday game, they sell millions and they're a really easy win. Camelot can just pull them out of the bum at this point, can't they? Like, and they're all fairly competent. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we had as a surprise Nintendo Direct. And this is out next month, game.
Yeah, I love Mario Strikers, so I would be so down for another Mario Strikers game, even if it's like a remaster or something or a re-release. Yeah. I poured so many hours into that game. What's everyone else's hopes and dreams for a kind of a Christmas release?
I guess, I mean, with Bravely Default 2 kind of still hold out that they might be like, oh, it's coming December, because it still says 2020. I just checked on the website. I'm kind of holding out for that. But all the things I really wanted to be announced are either definitely not happening in 2020 or they're happening, like Pikmin 3, or, for example, Skyward Sword is definitely happening, but not in 2020. So I think Bravely Default would be an interesting one, because I like that genre. I'm into that genre, so it seems like my cup of tea. I don't have anything else that's a burning desire.
Well, like for myself, what I would love to see, it would be any kind of Metroid game, because like we have the Switch for 3 years now and there's no Metroid for it, not any kind, not 2D, not 3D. So I'm up for the Metroid Prime trilogy or the 2D Metroid. Anything would be fine to me, honestly. But what I think Nintendo may be hiding to show for us in December is some kind of Pokemon game, because like I don't know if we'll go through the whole year with only the DLC for Sword and Shield. So I don't know if it's like another kind of remake, maybe like a Let's Go Johto or Let's Go Pichu, I don't know what's the title, or something on that line to fill in the gaps for the Pokemon fanatics.
I feel like we've had a lot of Pokemon lately. We'd had Mystery Dungeon DX early this year, right? And then we had the puzzle game. What's it called? Cafe?
Pokemon Cafe Mix.
The Cafe Mix.
I mean, Snap got announced.
Snap did get announced.
But Pokemon, I think, have a huge promotion cycle. I don't think Snap is this year. I keep seeing people being like, don't forget, we're getting Pokemon Snap this year. I'm like, Pokemon games are advertised for 6 months before they come out. They're huge. They come out with a movie, with an anime. Like, it's a juggernaut of a franchise, and they very rarely, unless it's a mobile game, do they pop up with a, hey, here's one.
Yeah.
I'd love to say Pokemon Unite, maybe. Is that this year?
No, I doubt it.
There's
so much online support necessary.
We haven't forgotten about it. We made a video, I remember.
Yes. For me, it's kind of like, it's not a Nintendo game, but I would lose my mind if Rockstar announced that Grand Theft Auto 5 was coming to Switch for Christmas. Because I haven't played that game since Xbox 360. So I would love to kind of dive back into that, especially where you can take it anywhere.
Yeah, I'm not really into those kinds of games, but I would actually consider getting it on Switch, because I spent years watching other people play it.
Yeah, I mean, and it ran absolutely fine on PS3 and Xbox 360. If they really weren't happy to compromise it with that, then bring it out with a Switch Pro.
They got another Switch Pro launch title. So this is kind of it's not really Nintendo news, but the gaming community's kind of been abuzz with the announcement of the reveal of the Series S and the reveal of the prices for the Series X and the Series S. And I think most people kind of take it back at how reasonably priced they were. So did these announcements sway you? Were you going to be picking up a new Xbox on November 10th, or are you apprehensive? You're going to wait to see what PS5 is going to do?
My philosophy in life is you get what you pay for. And part of the reason that it's so inexpensive, obviously, it's like I like to have my physicals, so it's going to be a no for me, dog. But I think just in general, you get what you pay for. I'm not saying every console should be $700. I'm just saying that a console that's like surprisingly cheap is probably going to poop out on you in a couple of years.
Well, it's cheaper than the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, they have said, like, if you look at the internals, it's got a lot of the same internal workings as the Series X. It just doesn't output native 4K. So that is just a machine of processing. The actual resolution is where you take the hit. And you're right, you can't get physical. For me, that Series S looks really tempting to just get Game Pass. Game Pass is still one of the best deals in gaming, and there's so many games that I want to pick up and play, but I'm not happy to pay 50 quid for. Like, I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game in years. I want to play the Star Wars games, and Game Pass is now including EA Pass or EA Play, whatever it's called as well. So like, that's chucking in a load more. Like, Game Pass is not to be sniffed at in terms of a really clever consumer product. And I think for a lot of people who every year buy a console to play COD or FIFA, this is incredible, you know. And a lot of those people don't care about 4K. They just want to get the latest FIFA. I don't know that it prices Nintendo out or smokes them out in terms of like, you need to do something. I just think it's a very clever move for a less dedicated, but still huge part of the gaming community that does just like to play their games every year, every FIFA game that comes out.
Yeah, it's completely true. And do you think where does Nintendo stand with the release of these next gen consoles? Do you think they're going to hold their own against Xbox and PlayStation, or do they? Yeah, is this why they're kind of like, you know, bringing out the rumored Pro to kind of keep up with the next generation?
Well, Nathan said last time, I think Nathan was the one that said this, the Pro isn't like a reaction.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Pro is not meant to compete. It's maybe going to like mean we get a couple more Doom Eternals or something like that, but it's more for Nintendo fans that have had the same console for 3 or 4 years.
Right, they started this a long time ago. Yeah,
we've proven every generation, like, yeah, I'll buy the new 3DS, yeah, I'll buy the DSi, yeah, I'll buy the Game Boy Color. Like, we keep doing this because we love our Nintendo consoles, and so if they can give us one that is probably going to last a few more years, then we're super happy with it. John, what do you think? You're just getting the Switch in Brazil, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. It is going to be released on the 18th, together with the Mario 3D collection.
Oh wow, it's a launch title in Brazil.
But
that's crazy.
Like, yeah, it's a launch title. So, well, this shows just how different the situation with consoles and gaming in general is all around the world, because like, I really wasn't the type of player that, a new console is launching, I'm going to buy it, of course, on day one, because things here are different. It's usually like way expensive than it should be. It's way harder to get the console on games and such. So, but like, the Nintendo Switch was the first game that I bought on the day one, and only because Paul has helped me with that. But if not for that, I would have to wait before it get here, and like the gray market people would buy it and import and sell for whatever price they would like to ask, and so on. And with this next generation, I don't think things will change that much, because Nintendo, after all, is playing its own game. Like, they aren't going for power. They aren't going for like, oh, we are going to show 4K and 120 first FPS, because that's like just technobabble, and like they are going to keep playing like with their strength, which is like, we have Mario, we have Zelda, we have all these amazing games that you can play on a big TV or on the go as you like. And if they release a Pro, or like when they release a Pro, even if it like has something to output in 4K to TVs and so on, like, it won't change much, because you will still have the standard Switch to kind of hold things down for Nintendo. But what I am curious to see is like how much the Xbox Series S is going to hold down the whole next generation. Because before the announcement of the Xbox Series S, with the specs that PlayStation and Microsoft were showing about the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, they were like, we are going all in on that. It's going to be powerful. It has an SSD, which is going to make things run faster and no loadings. And like, it's going to be a big jump from what we have now. But if all games from next generation will need to run on the Xbox Series S, which like won't be able to output in 4K, will have like lower specs and like worse textures maybe, this will result probably in games being like in a much more variety range. Like the Call of Duty, for instance, will have to run like at 4K on the Series X, but also on a lower resolution with lower textures on Xbox Series S. And maybe due to that, they will be maybe easier to port or to adapt to the Nintendo Switch. I don't know if this is going to change things that much.
Yeah, I think like you say, like Nintendo has all these amazing IPs. The only place you can play Mario is on a Nintendo console, so I think they've definitely kind of got that edge. Whereas with Xbox, like PlayStation 5 seems like it has quite a good few kind of games coming out, like the Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank. Whereas Xbox, I don't feel like, because Halo's been delayed, there isn't like a kind of a killer game that's going to sell and shift units this Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, and that is the strength of Nintendo. Is Nintendo don't need to sell you a console. They sell you the games, but where else are you going to go? Like it's, and then you look at as well, like Animal Crossing sold 20 million since March. No exclusive PlayStation game has sold that much. No, obviously no exclusive Xbox game has sold that much. Like they're not playing the same game in any way. Yeah. And it is super interesting because, even when Sony has like these exclusives that sell a few million, like it's interesting to think of, well, their console costs so much and they're doing that at a loss, and the actual mechanics of like who makes the most money is a bit weird to think about. But I don't think Nintendo have to worry. I think, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We've got plenty of Nintendo games to play.
I think Nintendo is the most profitable company in Japan now. So they're I think they're golden. I think they're good. They don't need to worry, do they? So now it's moving on to the section, and it's time for my credibility to take another hit, because it's of course time for another quiz from Nathan. Nathan, what is it on this week? I see Anna's head in her hands already.
Okay, so what I thought this week, the best thing to do, I'd make it quite easy, because I want it to be a bit quicker, and I was also I talk quite quickly, and I was worried I didn't want to make it too difficult for Jhonatan or anything. So what we've got this week, we all know Metacritic, right?
Yeah.
That site where you go on and you rate games. Okay, I've made a game called Meta Mario, which is essentially higher or lower. I'm gonna say a Mario game, and from then on, I'm gonna say another Mario game, and you have to tell me whether the Metacritic score is higher or lower.
Okay, yeah,
that's it. It's that simple. That's all you have to do.
It's not relying on too much knowledge. That's good. I like it.
Yeah, and we'll take it in turns as to who goes first. I'm gonna do it clockwise from me. So the first question, John will go first. The second one, it'll be Anna, and then the third one, it'll go Alex.
Okay.
All right.
I guess I'd better keep track, hadn't I?
Oh no.
Okay, so what we're going to start with is Super Mario 64. So Super Mario 64 has got a Metacritic score of 94, which I'm not going to lie, it's lower than I thought. And I think you'll be surprised by a few of these, or I hope, because otherwise the game's going to be really boring. Where's my... Go on, stop that. Right,
My camera does that too.
Okay, right. So after Super Mario 64 at 94, we have Super Mario 3D World for Wii U. I'm going to ask everyone if you think higher or lower, but I'll start with you, John.
Okay, well, what is tricky about that question is because like they are so far apart in time that reviews have changed between the two of them. So like it's kind of different different opinions on the way that they are going to talk about the game and so on. But I think that 3D World is lower than Mario 64.
Cool. Okay. Anna, what do you think?
I agree. I think it's lower.
Yeah. Alex?
I'm not going to buck the trend. I'm saying lower. I reckon like 87. I reckon it kind of
it's like 80s. That's what I'm thinking.
Nice. Well, you all get a point. But it's 93. It's a single point.
Oh, a single one. Just one.
Just a single point. Very interesting. Honestly, there's quite a few in here that I'm very surprised by. Okay, after that, we have Super Mario Sunshine. So, Super Mario 3D World was a 93. Super Mario Sunshine, guys. I'm gonna start with you, Anna.
I'm gonna say it's lower.
So it's lower. Okay, cool.
I'm gonna say it's lower. I think there are a lot of critics of that game, so I think I'm gonna go lower.
Interesting.
Yeah, same. I'd say lower. I think it's one of the. It feels like it's one of the Mario games, like the black sheep of the Mario kind of games. So I'd say it's kind of like hovering around 80.
Oh, 80s. Like hovering like on the little water thing.
There you go. Yeah.
Cool. And John?
Yeah, I think it's going to be lower, but not that much, because I think there's a difference between what critics said and what the general public says about Sunshine. So I'd say it is like 85, 86.
Nice, right. You all get a point. It is lower, but again, by a single point. 92 on Metacritic.
Wow.
Really shocking.
92, yeah.
It's going to be hard. Apparently, there's going to be some higher. Evidently.
Is it going to be 1 point within each?
Yeah, things are going to change. Don't worry. I haven't just made it like go down 1 point at a time.
That's why it's like, oh, these are high rated games.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Okay, cool. So after Super Mario Sunshine with 92, we have Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Brothers 3.
Oh, I had that.
Go on, Alex, you're first this time.
Lower, lower, definitely.
Cool, okay. John?
I think it's lower.
Cool. And Anna?
Bless you. Bless
I'm so sorry, bless me.
I will say higher.
Cool, nice. That is 1 point to Anna. Everyone else has lost a point.
No way.
Oh,
yeah.
This is a good ass game.
Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Brothers 3 is a 94 on Metacritic.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I looked at the original reviews because I was like, what? Matt, people must have had nothing to play back then.
Yeah.
I just want to highlight the panic that happened in the first one because it was so like that Mario one listing it last time. It was so hard that I didn't even list this game, which I've played. And I'm pretty sure I didn't even list it in that episode. Everyone's like, God, Anna, how didn't you even say this one? Listen.
It's so much harder when you're doing it.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm not that much ashamed with this quiz because if it was last week, I would have problems too. I must confess.
I failed miserably last week.
Oh,
it's all right.
Anyway,
guys, it's all right.
It feels a bit gentler.
We're doing pretty well so far.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, cool. Right, so that was Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3 with 94. After that, we have got Super Mario Maker 2015 Wii U. I guess, John, you're first this time.
Oh, it's so hard because it's 1 point of difference between all of them, basically. But I think Mario Maker is lower than the last one.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Anna?
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna say lower because yeah, I think people probably found it. Maybe some people thought it was gimmicky. I don't know. Maybe some critics didn't like it.
Cool. Okay, Alex.
Yeah, I feel like if Super Mario 64 is 94, nothing's going to go above that. So it's got to kind of be lower.
Very good. Nice. You all get a point. Very well done, guys. 88. Still,
Respectable. Yeah,
that's a
pretty good.
respectable score. I know.
Respectable.
Exactly. Right. After that, we have got. So that was Super Mario Maker with 88. Next, we have got New Super Mario Brothers 2 on 3DS.
That I did not play. I'm gonna go ahead and say, compared to 88, in a game I know nothing about and didn't play, I'll say lower.
Yeah. Okay. See, I played this game and the DLC, and I love it. But that is one person's opinion, and reviews are mad, so I'm not going to sway anyone.
So what was Mario Maker? That was 80.
Mario Maker was 88, and this is New Super Mario Brothers 2.
I'm going to go lower as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. John?
Well, I haven't played it, but I'm going to say it's higher.
Okay. Interesting.
Just to be different.
No, that's fun. That's fun.
It's coming for me.
New Super Mario Brothers 2 was 78.
Oh, okay.
That is a very low reviewed Mario game.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't understand that, but that's fun. That's fun. Everyone's got their
What is
opinion.
going on with these scores? Yeah. All over the place.
Cool. Right. So after that, New Super Mario Brothers 2 on 3DS was 78. After that, we have got Super Mario 3D Land, the other 3DS Mario game. No, yeah, this is a different one.
Is it me? I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go higher.
Cool. Okay.
It's got to be higher. It's got to be higher, surely.
John?
I think it's higher.
Cool.
I agree. I think it's higher.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of, you couldn't really get much lower than 78, could you? You're all right. That is all good. I think these last few are a little bit tricky.
Yeah. Want to know like the lowest rated Mario game now? I'm really intrigued to see what is the worst. Yeah.
It depends what you mean by Mario, because for this I typed Super Mario into Metacritic.
Okay.
So in terms of Mario platformers, I know what it is, but all the Super Mario games, there's a couple of like quite low ones. Right, so Super Mario 3D Land, that is 90. Right after that, we are going to go with Super Paper Mario on the Wii. John, what do you think?
I think it's lower.
Yeah, cool. Anna?
I am with him on that. I didn't play it, but I recall people telling me it was, I was about to say a bad word, poopy.
They'd be wrong, but that's fine.
Yeah, I'm not going to buck the trend. I'm going to go same. Yeah, lower.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I've made this way too easy this week, haven't I? This is free. This is just 3 points. Yeah, you all get a point. That is.
I like it.
85 on Metacritic, so still pretty respectable, I think.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Okay. Up next, after Super Paper Mario at 85, we have Super Mario Party on the Switch.
Okay.
Right.
I have that. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I'm going to say, start with you, Anna.
I have this game, and I kind of like it, but the last one was what, 90?
The last one was Super Paper Mario at 85.
85. It's tough. A lot of people didn't really like it, but it's probably by like a couple points. All right. I'm going to say lower.
Cool. Alex?
Lower. Yep.
Yeah. John?
I will go with lower too.
Okay. You guys are rinsing me. Yeah, it's 76.
Yes. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, way lower than I thought.
Yeah.
Do we have a winner at this point?
I think, is it Anna? Is she 1 point ahead, I feel?
Yeah.
I will reveal all to you later. I'm keeping track. Cool. And final one. So we have Super Mario Party, at 76. After that is Super Mario All-Stars 25th anniversary on Wii.
Oh.
the big red Wii game that was the collection of the Super Mario All-Stars game on SNES.
Mm-hmm.
I feel higher.
Yeah, Alex, John.
Yeah, I think it's higher. They are amazing games, whatever the time they were released.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta go with that because the last game was 77, correct?
76.
Oh, 76, certainly higher.
Yeah, cool, interesting. You are all wrong.
Oh,
Oh, surprising.
In a surprise that we may see recreated at the end of this week, but we'll see. Super Mario All-Stars 25th anniversary got 70 on Metacritic,
damn.
with a lot of people
Wow.
bemoaning the price of the package, the lack of extras, and other features.
I
that
still
could have
don't
been
get
included.
that. You're getting three games.
Yeah.
I don't care that they're games that are already out. They're 3 games.
Yeah.
That price, you can buy 1 copy of Super Mario Sunshine for your GameCube. Get over yourself, people.
I agree with you with the most recent one with 3D All-Stars, but even 10 years ago, releasing the SNES All-Stars at full whack, at full whack on the Wii, that is a bit cheeky.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I thought it was on the merits of the games rather than the package as a whole, though. I thought.
This is what I'm going to struggle with because I'm reviewing Super Mario 3D All-Stars for Ninty Fresh, and I'm trying to be as objective as I can. That's why I'm playing Galaxy at the moment to get a feel of the old games and see how much has changed. But how do you not mention the lack of some things as well? I feel like there's something that can be addressed, but maybe not sway a score.
Yeah, it's hard to judge a game on what it doesn't have versus what it offers, what it brings to the table.
Sorry, I'm a massive fidget. It's not fair to be like, well, the Crash remasters did this for 30 quid and it was completely different graphics. And it's like, well, those games weren't as good to begin with. Mario doesn't need to be changed. It just needs to be preserved.
Right.
It's a very different thing. Sorry, all these people being like, oh, the Crash and Spyro remasters. Play those old games, mate. See what you think. They needed to be changed.
Yeah.
So, what's the final score? Do we know?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Is it going to continue forever, or are we going to?
Yeah. No, that was that. I completely forgot that we needed. I was a light-hearted one this week. I was like, you all win.
Nice and gentle.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we do have there was only a couple of mistakes in it, but Anna, you are the winner. You only made 1 mistake. That one at the very end. Well done.
Flawless.
Be different, girls.
Yeah. God, you nearly had a perfect victory.
How many times have you won, Anna? I think
twice.
Every episode twice. Yeah,
I won twice and I lost all of my dignity once.
The winning is the most important thing.
We'll swap it round at some point so I can be embarrassed as well.
Do we say Pokemon? Pokemon's because I'm super weak on Pokemon. My knowledge is terrible.
Yeah.
So maybe Pokemon we can do.
Oh boy.
I'd be really embarrassed now because I've talked to the big about Pokemon. If we do a Pokemon quiz and I'm like, I can't remember what that one evolves into or from, or at what level it evolves or what stone. Oh.
All right. I'm already wringing my hands.
Yeah.
Maniacally. This would be. I
There's
think I could take over for you, Nathan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stupid things in Pokemon that don't make sense.
Oh yes. I'm already I already can think of a lot of little trivia, so we're gonna have fun.
Yeah,
Nice.
I can't wait for that one. Well, I guess that's it for another week in Nintendo Land. Jhonatan, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
It's so great to hear about all your kind of like Hyrule Warriors analysis. That was so interesting.
Thank you.
So we won't be back next week because Nathan, you're hosting a kind of chat with a few people from Switch Player Magazine on their first impressions of the Mario 3D All-Stars collection and also their kind of memories from the game, right?
Yeah. So next week isn't going to be a typical. It's not going to be an episode, a numbered episode, if you know what I mean. It will be a Super Mario 3D All-Stars special. It will be a kind of like light chat. It won't be a review impressions or anything like that. It will just be what everyone's thought over the weekend and kind of a reminisce about the series as a whole and, what we love about it, what we remember about it, and maybe what we'd like to see in the future. But yeah, just a couple of the guys from Switch Player and people that I think have got a lot to say about their love of Mario.
Oh, well, I'm excited for that because video games confession at the moment, I have never played Super Mario Sunshine nor Super Mario
Ah.
Galaxy. So like it will be my first time going into those games. Like I'm pretty excited to
That's
finally
lovely.
try it out.
All the more reason to preserve them instead of change them so people can still have their first experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
I've never played Sunshine, so I'm going to dive into that one first.
Ooh, y'all are
That's
missing
so
out.
interesting.
Yeah.
2 people that haven't played Sunshine.
Yeah, it just kind of passed me by.
It's like unicorns.
I love Sunshine. It's literally one of
Yeah.
my favorite ones. I think it holds up really well, and I won't know people.
Same.
It's got a load of problems. It was rushed. It's got camera issues.
Oh yeah.
But like, I'd love to see what people who've never played that and are Mario fans play that nowadays and be like, "It's got loads of weird stuff. This is great." I think I really want to hear your opinion next week, guys. Are you both picking up 3D All Stars?
Yes, yeah. I've ordered it from the Nintendo official store, so hopefully it arrives on time.
You might get it then.
Who knows? Yeah. Well, I can't wait to kind of hear your first impressions of it. And make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can also watch Nathan's video, which is coming on Sunday. And we'll be back the week after with some more news from Nintendo Land. So we'll see you then. Thank you very much for watching.